I wonder which kind of grouping it is. I wonder if it's the 5 or the 3 or who we've got. It seems as though they might have killed something because everyone looks quite red in the face at this stage, but let's have a little look and see if we can just get in here a little bit better and have a closer view of who exactly. I can already see 3, and I know there was a 4th, 5, 6, 7, 8, so we've got quite a few of them actually. There's a lot more than I first anticipated. Now I'm not sure which pack this is, but you can see they're quite spread out. There looks like a bit of blood on the faces, so I think maybe they were successful this morning and managed to catch something, and so now they're just taking a little bit of a break. They were running around, and I was saying they were causing absolute havoc at one point, and they may be just taking a little bit of a rest now and before they then get up and start to continue running around again. But super cool to see them. It's one of the dark dogs. I think this might be some of the Sands pack. I'm not 100% sure. It could be the remainder of... Actually, there's a collared individual over there. Now, I'm not sure if that's the collared male from the Angama pack or if it's the collared individual from the Sands pack. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll have to just wait and hopefully one or two of them will pop up and stand up, and then it makes it a lot easier to actually ID which pack of dogs we've got. At the end of the day, it's now this time of the year is when the dogs are starting to move, but this could actually be the other section of the Investec breakaways. So we had the 5 dogs the other day, and then there was 8 remaining dogs, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got 7, 8. So this is the 8 remaining ones, I think. So this is, I think, the remainder of the Investec pack. And hopefully I will be right if they all kind of stand up. There's one particular female that I'm looking for as well, but I don't know if she was in the 5 split or in the 8 split. She's a very light colored individual, but I don't see her here, so maybe she's with the other 5. And like I say, there's this older dog from the Angama pack, which is the one that's collared, but I can't see if that's that individual that we've got lying here with the collar, but one of them does have a collar. And all of the dogs within the Kruger Park system, every pack at the moment does have a collared dog in it, and the reason why, it's not because we use this to find the dogs. We have no idea. We have no access to that information. It gets pinged to somebody else, and it only goes off every sort of 12 hours. But the reason why it's being done is because they're doing a big sort of campaign now to try and rid the area of distemper and rabies, and particularly the wild dogs, and the dogs are being vaccinated against it now. To be able to keep up with the vaccinations and to keep finding them and treating them with the dropout darts, is that they need to have one member of the pack collared so that they can find the pack. Here in the Sabi Sands, it's not so difficult for them because we report on pretty much every day where they are. The dogs generally get found anywhere that they go because of the kind of rarity of them, and then people put a lot of time in trying to find them, so they generally get found quite quickly. But in parts of Kruger, you're working with areas that are 3 times the size of the Sabi Sands before there's even a road, and so with the dogs there, they need to be collared, and otherwise to find them is almost impossible, and so the collar needs to be put on, and that's why. Hopefully after 2 years of this whole process, those collars will then be taken off, and we will no longer see sort of all of the packs with collars on them. But they're all very sleepy right now, which is great for us because it's allowed us an opportunity just to kind of catch up with them and to spend some time with them without them moving off. At the end of the day, like I was saying, Chitwa, they were kind of flirting with the southern boundary, and Chitwa's north-south boundaries are quite short in comparison to the east-west boundaries. And so now that they're lying down, it means we can get a really nice long view of them, and hopefully after a while they do start to wake up and move again. But it definitely seems like there's a little bit of blood on the faces, and so maybe they're going to end up actually just sleeping for most of the day in this particular section. It could very well be the case. And Jeremiah, you say you love the satellite dishes on their heads. Well, yes, their ears are quite incredible, aren't they? And the reason why they have to have such big ears is because, unfortunately for these guys, they're not built like some of the other animals out here and are very tall and are able to see over grass, and so it's vitally important for these guys to be able to get to a situation where they can actually hear what's going on rather than see what's going on. And so big ears help for them to be able to listen to their prey animals when they are trying to keep up and trying to sort of chase them through the long grass. Now, I'm just going to reposition myself quickly because they are lying in the road, and the vehicle that was across the road has now left, and it allows me now a chance to get a slightly better view of those dogs that are lying in the road, and that we don't have to kind of have too much grass in the way. There we go. That's a little bit better, Evian. at least kind of can see them. But they look as though they've now decided this is where they're going to sleep for the day. And you find with the bigger packs, for some reason, they all tend to be, oh, hang on, something's just woken them up. Maybe a hyena is going to run in here and cause a bit of trauma and a bit of drama to start. I absolutely love when we see wild dogs and hyenas, because it just is absolute chaos when that happens. You'll find hyenas chasing dogs, dogs chasing hyenas. It's actually very difficult to work out who's doing what. But I wonder if we're going to see a situation where maybe a hyena arrives at some point and finds them. But you can see this dog on the right is the most alert of all of them. He's the one that keeps popping his head. I think it's a he. It looks like a he. And it's difficult to sex them when they're lying down. Becca, you're asking if there are any other dogs in the park besides wild dogs. So, no, the only dog is true dog, I would say. Or I suppose true dog is also not the right word, but the only kind of real dog that we see is these guys. They obviously are jackals and that occur here, so both the side-striped and the black-backed, which are part of the canine family. But that's it. There's no other dog-like animal that has dog in its name. These guys, actually, there's this whole big raging debate at the moment as to whether or not their name's going to be changed to Painted Wolf. And so they are referred to as both the Painted Wolf and the African Wild Dog. So it just depends on where you are and where you grow up that you call them different things. But at the end of the day, no, these are the only kind of wild dogs that we actually see within the park itself. They are the most incredible animals, though. When they're resting like this, they look as though they're not really capable of much, but they are absolutely ruthless. Wild dogs are a creature that is able to seriously hunt and is able to bring down a large percentage of animals. They can be seriously destructive in certain areas, and that's why wild dogs are a tough animal to reintroduce to areas. Not many people actually want wild dogs anywhere near their areas because of the heavy impact that they have on a lot of the animal species that are in the area. So you'll find them often going after things like bushbuck impalas, and they really hammer a population of antelope. And if you could get a pack of denning dogs in your area, they reckon that the decrease in certain antelope species is absolutely massive. So they are ruthless when they get going, and they have to spend time resting like this, because when they are active, it's non-stop, and they trot and they run, and there's very seldom even a walk, and they'll chase multitude of different animals, and it really is a lot of energy expended, and so they sometimes do need to rest. And if they've had a tough morning, like it sounds like they have, where they've run around all over the place, then we have a situation where they'll start to relax and just take it easier. And I believe a lot of you are commenting on how nice it is just to have a calm, relaxed wild dog sighting. It is nice, isn't it? The thing about wild dogs, and the best part about it, is that you never know at any point when it's going to just go absolutely chaotic, because they can be sitting like this, resting, sleeping, and all of a sudden one of them spots an impala, and next thing the whole pack is up and running and chasing them all over the place. And so it's an animal that is always worth spending time with. Arya, you're asking what is the wild dog's hierarchy like? Well, Arya, in a group there's generally a male and female alpha pair that is on top. And then you'll often get a secondary female called a beta female, and that's then how it runs from there. That the dogs below that generally are not, there's no real pecking order between the rest of them. They'll all kind of help out and aid the cause, but there's definitely a alpha male female hierarchy within the pack itself. Now that sort of alpha male and alpha female within the pack is actually sometimes quite fluid. You'll find a situation where obviously males try and dominate for as long as they can and mate for as long as they can, but sometimes other males will come in and there'll be a process of change. And so most of these packs, you'll find that if a male is dominant for 2 to 3 years, that's a seriously good run for him. And sometimes it's even shorter than just 1 season, and then the next time it's a different male. Excuse me. And the reason why that is because a lot of our dogs don't live very long out here. An old wild dog in the Kruger system is 5 years old, and there are some that will go as much as 7, but generally the average age, from what the research has shown, is that a lot of these dogs pretty much live to about 3.5, 4 years, and that's it. And it's because of the high density of hyena, lion, leopard, crocodiles that go after dogs a lot, because dogs, when they feed, they make a lot of noise and there's a lot of things going on. They often get caught out by a lot of other predators and unfortunately then hurt by them. So their numbers and their sort of ages are very young, and that's why you get a high turnover of alpha males and females. Right, well, we're going to sit with our dogs because why not? At the end of the day, it's not every day we get to see them. They relax, they're taking it very easy. And one person who will be very, very jealous about this is that of Brent Leo Smith, who is continuing and forging forward with his birding for the morning. Well, they are indeed, and there's a nyala behind us that they seem like they've spotted. So I think we're off to go and see if they're going to go and hunt it, and indeed we are. As you can see, everybody's up and now trotting, and so from lying down sleeping, we're now in a situation where I think a nyala is about to have a very, very bad day, and this whole pack is now moving towards where they're going. So hopefully we'll see them starting to hunt and starting to get going. It looks like they're kind of getting up and ready to move. Whether or not they actually will is anyone's guess. Now I'm just going to try and open the path a little bit for another vehicle that's also joining us, just to see, so that they can also see what goes on. But you can see they've kind of moved a little bit and then they've stopped. The nyala was just on the other side. I think the nyala has been clever and has run into Chitwa Lodge itself and has kind of gone to try and sort of seek shelter in that area. Well, if I was a nyala, I would do the exact same, I must be honest. Now this is pretty cool. Look here, there's a crow chasing a bird of prey as well above us. There we go. So looks like a Wahlberg's eagle being chased by a crow, which is not every day you're going to see that. You can see the crow is pushing it away. It knows that the Wahlberg's is a bird of prey that hunts other birds, and so the crow is dismissing it because the crow is busy nesting on the tower that is at Chitwa Lodge. So that's why it's getting a little bit of a hard time. But the dogs look like they might start settling again. I think maybe it was just a temporary kind of waking up. They might have spotted that nyala, kind of thought about it, and now it's all time to kind of rest. But what I want to try and do is just try and get VM into a slightly better angle with the sun, because at the moment the kind of light is very harsh from our right-hand side and it makes a lot of shadows. So I want to just try and quickly come around this way, and this should help VM a little bit, and we should have the sun then over our right shoulder and the dogs looking directly into the light, which will be absolutely beautiful. But I think they're going to settle down again. I don't think they're going to go too far. There we go. Everybody's starting to lie down and take it easy. So it was just a short, brief little kind of movement, and now everybody is settling and is slowly but surely just finding a place to lie down. It's still quite cool this morning, and so I think maybe settling. Oh no, apparently not. Apparently some of them want to move. You can see half the pack is down and sleeping, and the other half is up and moving. And so you might find what happens is they're just looking for a bit of shade and they might lie down there. Although what I was saying is that it's cool this morning, and so if I was a dog, I would also be lying in the sunshine as well at the moment, because lying in the sun is at least a little bit warmer than in this cold kind of shade. Now that we're in the shade itself, it actually feels a little bit more chilly. So hopefully they'll all settle down again. It'll be nice if they do settle, because it means they'll still be around this afternoon. Michael, you're asking, has there been any research on the genetic diversity of the Kruger packs and you know, what was the outcome of it? So Michael, at the moment with this rabies and canine distemper, they are taking a DNA sample of all of these wild dogs, and they're working out slowly but surely what exactly is going on. Look, there's a wild dog chasing a dwarf mongoose inside the termite mound. The little dwarf mongoose is running. You can actually hear them alarm calling. The dog chased it inside there. Everybody else is fairly relaxed and lying down, but I think that dwarf mongoose was just too kind of interesting for that dog not to go and chase. But they're busy doing all the DNA testing on them at the moment and working out exactly what's going on with the DNA. So at this stage, there's no sort of sign of any results as to how closely related or what the kind of genetic variation is amongst them. But you never know. It's going to be out soon, and hopefully we'll get a better understanding of exactly what these dogs are and how they're related. But you can hear they're starting to sneeze now. Now, this is a thing that we've been discussing recently. There we go. There's a little sneeze from one of the dogs, and that they sneeze when they're starting to move. And it's almost like a voting system as to how they get to move. So everyone will have a little sneeze, and that's kind of like their vote. And that then indicates if it's a time to move, is it time to settle, is it time to lie down, which is super interesting. It's a really kind of a cool thing to do. Now, they are on their way towards Chitwa airstrip, so I want to try and keep up with them, because if they're on the airstrip itself, it's going to be really quite beautiful. I don't know if we'll get all the way there. They might lie down before we do, but let's have a look, and hopefully they will get towards where they need to go. Now, this is exactly the same area that we had Hosana, Tamba, and Tingana. It's all in the exact same place, and so I wonder if maybe they're just kind of looking around and scenting. So you'll find that there's a little bit of rubble here, and this is just from where Chitwa's been doing some renovations. So they clear this out every now and then, but it's just that they've got to put it somewhere while they're busy with their renovations, and once they're done with the renovations, then they just come and basically remove everything when everything is done. But it looks like they're going to head towards the airstrip. I think let's go around, Viam. It's going to be much easier if we go around and catch them on the other side, because they are going through a difficult patch to negotiate, that's for sure. All right, let's go through here. This looks fairly open. There we go. There should be a little path that takes us through. Linda, the population of dogs is shrinking for two reasons. One, naturally they have a very high mortality rate, so unfortunately because of other predators out here, dogs, a lot of them do die, but the probably single biggest reason is people. Now, not because we hunt them, not because we chase them, not because we, domesticate them, but because we live very close to where they are and we've taken over massive tracts of habitat, and also because we have domestic animals that do have distemper and rabies and these kind of things. And because dogs are such social animals, if they get distemper or rabies, they're pretty much their entire genetic their entire pack will get it, because of how closely they bond with one another and how they kind of treat each other. Like I say, the entire pack ends up getting it and all kind of passing it on to one another, and it becomes a big problem. So it's not good for the dogs when they get these things. It literally destroys the entire sort of pack, like I say, and you get a big loss in the population very, very quickly. I think they're hopefully going to settle in this particular area. It would be nice if they do. Now, it can't be the Sands pack, because earlier I was saying I would need them to stand up, but it can't be the Sands pack, because the Sands pack, currently the secondary female, or beta female, has had little puppies, and they're still quite den bound at the moment. And these guys are most certainly the rest of the Investec pack. I can at least see them all now. So the rest of the Investecs are all here as well, which is cool. And I wonder where the other 5 have disappeared to. It was about a week ago, maybe just over a week, since we last saw those 5. And hopefully these guys will eventually catch up with the 5, and we'll be able to kind of rejoin, unless they've decided to split completely, which does happen with dogs. Dogs do split from time to time and end up in situations where they're kind of in different groupings. The problem is that we are going to probably lose these dogs fairly shortly. Where we're going now, 1, I don't have signal, and 2, the density of the bush is just ridiculous. To follow wild dogs through here is almost impossible. So this is going to be probably our best view of them trotting past us on the airstrip. We're going to try and keep up with them, but I doubt it's going to be possible. They, like I say, move too quickly, and in thickets like what we're just going into, it's going to be almost impossible to keep up with them. Off they go into that area. So if a wild dog is injured, they probably won't help it, even if it's due to natural causes. So if it's a human-related thing, then yes, they do help it, but natural causes, no. And the reason why is because wild dogs, typically most packs carry an injury at some point and a limp or something like that. It's just the nature of wild dogs. They fight with all kinds of things like hyenas. They chase a lot of animals, and so they end up in a situation where they unfortunately do carry a lot of natural injuries. And so even though they're endangered, it's part of the natural system. It's just a way that life is, and unfortunately that's how it works. So they don't actually treat the dogs for any natural kind of things. It's only if it's human intervention do they get treated. But that's here in South Africa. In other parts of the world it might be a bit different, but here in South Africa Africa, that's how they kind of treat it. Now, this is going to be a rough ride as we try and negotiate this thicket. It's really not going to be very easy. It gets super dense inside here. This little section now, while we kind of push towards the next road, is not too bad, but after this it becomes an absolute nightmare. And sorry, there's a steenbok here. So Wiem has seen a steenbok and the dogs have just walked right past it without even knowing it's there. The dogs are going, and you can see what I mean about it starting to get thick. There's a lot of branches. To even spot the dogs in this is quite difficult, so it's going to be a tough little process, but hopefully they'll end up settling somewhere and we can just try and keep up with them while they go through the thicket. This dog is sniffing around and the steenbok is still behind us. So it's just behind us here. I wonder if this dog might spot it once it comes around. And this is what they do when they're hunting. They spread out and they flush animals effectively. And once they flush something, then they give chase and the rest of the pack will come and chase behind them. Now, even though they have blood, they still are not hugely full and they could do with another kill. And so maybe that's why they're looking around. But I'm going to try and just get ahead of this particular... Wait, hold on. This dog looks like it's spotted. There we go. You see that dogs have spotted the steenbok. I'm going to try and just turn around quickly because it seems like they are chasing it. But the problem is that you've got to be careful of trees and all kinds of other things. So we're just trying to get around and see if we can keep up with them. Did you see which way they went, Vim? Towards the airstrip. So we can just try and get around here and see if I can keep up with them. The thing with dogs is that you tend to punish cars, and poor Rusty has just come out of the sick bay and is now following wild dogs. So Rusty, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I do apologize about this already, but let's try and just get back to where the dogs were running in case they chase the steenbok down. I'm just trying to scan to see where they would have gone. But I think they might have missed and just stopped. But one dog definitely set off after that steenbok. I don't know about the other dog. Oh, I've lost them now. Where did they go? Thought they might have run into this area, but no. I don't know where they've gone. This is typical of wild dogs too, is that they just all of a sudden grow wings and fly with them. There's one at least. Dogs, could you not have chased things on the airstrip rather? That would have been much easier for us. There they go. I can see most of the pack now. I don't think they've caught anything. It looks like it's just a greeting, although they've got their tails in the air, which sometimes is, just a greeting process. So everybody's just coming back together. They're just working out where everyone is. After doing a little chase, they kind of get themselves back into sort of alignment and get everyone together, and then back off they go again. But how cool is this? There's nothing better than wild dogs, because you never know. Like I was saying earlier, it just goes from relaxed to chaos in 2 seconds. So you don't have the situation where they sit still for very long. And now you can see we're off and trotting again, and to keep up with them is going. Now, Cheryl, sorry, if you can just repeat that. I'm just trying to get through here. Cheryl, I think you said how fast can they run? Is that what the question was, Megan? So wild dogs will reach a top speed of about 7 kilometers again. So they're after something. They're chasing a nyala, baby nyala. They're just going to try and keep up with them. It's going to be quite tough. Sorry, Vim. Let's try and just get around here. We're going to try and keep up. They're chasing, but it's so thick in here, it's going to be very difficult. Let's just see if we can get through this. Sorry, VM. Now, unfortunately, with wild dogs, they seem to have missed again because they're back. But there was a young nyala that they were busy chasing after, and they were right behind it at one point, and obviously it just managed to get away. And so everybody's now them back towards this area, and this is what they do, is they just walk and trot, and they eventually flush something, and then everybody tries to kind of join each other and try and kind of then get back together, and hopefully one member will be able to be successful and grab something. Can you still see them? They're going that way again. Yep. All right, let's try and get through this. Now, it's always one thing when you're plowing off at first, the adrenaline pumps and you get through, but it's then once you realize where you've gotten yourself, it's not ideal. So try and just keep up with these guys. I'm sorry, Rusty. I know. Myself that you can actually do that. I believe Brent is still forging ahead with his bird list for the morning and has found himself a very, very large bird, quite endangered and now this is just getting quite nasty in here, so I think our best bet is to try and rather get out of here and get out of this direction. But I believe Brent, well, they're going, not only are they going into really thick stuff that we've really tried to keep up with them, and it's been seriously tough. It's not been easy to keep up with them at all, and you can see it's dense in there, it's thick. The problem is that we're just going to lose reception, so we're heading into an area which is a black hole for reception, and so unfortunately this is going to be the last of the dogs that we're going to see. They're heading deeper into this thicket and deeper into the black hole that is this little area that we're in. It's so dense and thick here, although they seem to have slowed down a bit. I wonder if they may be just going to come out onto the road for us and just sit down for a bit. It would be nice, because what we just went through is really not very good for our vehicle. It was very thick and very dense. As you can see, there is lots of stuff now. There's a vehicle in front of me that wants to just come back, so I just need to reverse for them so that they can go and try and get a little bit further forward. So I apologize if there's any signal breakup. There we go. Thank you. Now that they've moved, we can go forward a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to, like I say, just watch these dogs for a little bit longer before they just disappear. I was hopeful that they would come onto the road, but it looks like they're going back into the thicket now, and chances are we're not really going to see much more of them, unfortunately. But how epic was that? It was really very cool. I love dogs. I don't know of any well-known packs denning on Djuma or Chitwa. To be honest, I've never heard of it. The Investec pack has denned on Buffels Hook, I think, before, so just north of Djuma, and the Sands pack has denned just south of Arathusa, but that's it. There's no other packs that I kind of know of denning on Djuma. I might be wrong. I mean, many years ago there might have been, but before my time, I've just not in the time that I've been in the Sands has any of the dogs denned on Djuma itself. And actually, to be honest, you don't really want, look at that dog just sniffing the car, you don't actually really want them denning right on your property. In a way, it's nice because you see the little ones, but the toll that they take on the area is huge, and your leopards get a very hard time, and the leopards tend to just move out of the way of the dogs. And then on top of that, you then get a loss of a lot of prey animals that leopard will also feed on, and so your leopard population takes a bit of a hit, and the dogs really do hammer your general game as well. So as much as they're awesome to see, and a den is amazing, and I've had the pleasure of seeing a lot of dens and spending time with puppies, it's just that they can cause a bit of an upset in that area for that particular season. And so in terms of what we've got at the moment, I think it's quite nice if we have them denning on one of the periphery lodges. So if you have them somewhere like on Buffels Hook, then you see them regularly, because they hunt on Djuma, but they don't actually spend all their time there, and therefore a lot of your other animals don't get kind of messed around, if you want to call it that. But it looks like they might settle down a bit, which is quite nice. I'm just going to go forward a bit so VM doesn't have to deal with this vehicle kind of in his way. It's quite nice at this angle, the same angle as the dog itself. We're right low down, which is very nice, although the rest of the pack is moving and carrying on and going forward. So there we go. I'm not going to sit down for long with these guys. It's a kind of walking situation. They're running and sitting. It's always just busy. And that's my favorite to many of the guys. It's very you feel of our signal zone, and unfortunately it is a situation where we are going to probably lose reception quite quickly. But I was just saying that this is why they're such a favorite, is because they're so busy. You know, everybody gets a chance. Okay, well, clearly we're not going to be able to watch them much longer because there's too many cars in the way at this stage, but they are trotting off down the road and carrying on. I'm not going to follow them any further, like I say. Unfortunately, that way we just lose reception very, very quickly, and we're not going to see them anyway, so we're going to leave them there. It's been a fantastic morning with the doggies, and I've certainly thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not sure Rusty enjoyed it, but well, I've absolutely loved every second of it, and hopefully they'll come back towards Djuma in the next couple days. And so while I try and kind of get back into better signal and get ourselves into an area where we can actually speak to you properly, let's go back across to Taylor McCurdy, who I think is somewhere in the marsh, and hopefully she will not get stuck.